I altered, well, they weren't really spontaneous. I altered how I approached these young ladies from the point of capture. From the first time, what I had wanted to do was to secure them and to suffocate them with plastic bags over their heads. I had some completely unrealistic perspective that that was quick, that they would lose consciousness rapidly. But the first young lady that was in the back seat, it was Mary Ann Pesh. I finally secured her. She argued a lot. She was dialoguing, trying to change up control of the situation. She had already decided I was in control. I was trying to gain control. I was convinced she was in control of it. So for about 20 minutes we were arguing back and forth over what was going to happen, and I was trying to keep it away from what was intended, which was murder. And I decided at that time I wasn't going to tell anyone I was going to rape them. I didn't say that at the time, but I left that wide open as the avenue that it's going to be a sexual release. And that got them very distressed, and it was obvious to me that if I was going to pursue what I was doing, that distress had to stop. So I went into a, unfortunately, more effective behavior of letting them help me. I let more of my personality come out, and I was suicidal, very disturbed, grasping out at someone. I had abducted them, and I wasn't going to let them out of the car because I was tired of people walking away from me. So some of that was very true, but I manipulated that to allow them to help me to the point of resolving their behavior until we got to a place where they could be killed. And I have the biggest problem with that on a guilt basis, because obviously that entailed unusual trust between the captor or the perpetrator and the victim of the crime. At one point, in fact, on the fourth victim of the crime, Miss Shaw, she actually got back into the trunk under her own power. I had a cast on my left arm, it was broken, and I walked her back to the trunk of the car where I told her I was going to keep her undercover so that I could get her to my home where we could talk. But I didn't want neighbors seeing her coming to the house or leaving the house. And I made that sound realistic to her. So she didn't want to get in the trunk but was willing to. When she got in the trunk, I shot her. So I'm trying to remember this from a long time ago, but another round had entered and exited that padding area, so there were 3 holes in that padding area that was head level with her. It was off to her right, to my left. She was moving about in the back quadrant there, trying to avoid the shots. That wouldn't have happened. I realized if I'd never done it, it wouldn't have happened, but my original intention was to make it very quick and neither one of them to be aware of what was happening, and it was not to keep them from stopping the crime, it was to keep them from suffering. I had a real bad problem depriving people of their lives. It wasn't the aspect of killing them, it was the aspect of possessing their bodies afterwards. So it was almost after an effect, evicting someone from their human body. And I'm sorry it sounds so cold, but that's about what it analogizes to. At the time, I wanted my case to look like random killings, unrelated. As you know, there was no real understanding of serial killing at the time, and when I told the police, they asked me how many people I thought I could have killed in the fashion that I did. Out of the approximately 1,000 individuals that got in my car over a 3-year period that I was out there, this being a hobby, a side hobby of mine, I'm just driving around. I love to drive and picking up anybody who wanted to ride. And then later on, focusing on more difficult cases, people I was convinced wouldn't want to get in because I'm a single male, young adult, two-door car. They're not going to want to get in and ride with me. I made that a challenge, almost like a chess game. And the more clever they got about checking me out ahead of time, the more clever I got about appearing innocuous and in a hurry and a businessman. And the best one for assuaging that last check of me was just to glance at my watch and look slightly irritated and, oh, well, I guess I can stop and give this person a ride. It seemed to have a very positive effect, even with the most sophisticated hitchers, which included the Passion Luchessa girls, the first two victims.
So, Rudy, you're a psychologist in your own right from the standpoint of how to size up people, how they'll respond to you.
How about sociologist and at a very lay level? A psychiatrist is looking for pathology. I was looking for ways to influence people.
Yeah, okay.